This is the 7th edition of Putting It on the Glass. This is where I show you what I have actually made as a lease driver for Arter Express, TTS Logistics. I am not a lease purchase driver and I'm not an employee. This is for the week ending July 24th. A lot has changed since that week, but this was my best week while at Arter Express. Please remember there's a carryover run from the week prior. Always be sure to look at year-to-date when you're comparing anyone's pay statements. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Trip number 1 for the week was from Jackson, Missouri to Claiborne, Texas. It was a light load, 14,497 pounds. 132 of those miles were deadhead, 810 total miles. You can always freeze frame and zoom in on any of the details if you want to see what I'm charged for expenses or what I receive in revenue. The second trip was a 35,000 pound load, had 131 miles of deadhead. There's a lot of deadhead this week. And it was a 1,561 pound load. Now this one went from Ardmore, Oklahoma to Elkton, Maryland. There's something different on this one. If you look, you'll see on the last line an MGAP, $400. That MGAP is because I actually went out of the region. Remember, I'm a regional driver, and I went outside the region. Well, I wasn't going to go outside the region without an adjustment, because when we go outside the region, we are paid at a lower rate. That lower rate being $1.20 per mile, where I'm normally paid $1.48 per mile. This is a significant difference. So I asked for the adjustment on both the load that I take in and the load that I take out of there. Trip number 3, from Olowine, Iowa to St. Charles, Missouri. Remember I told you these are not always in order because they put them in order by trip number? Well, this is a case where they're not in order. This was a 40,000 pound load, 316 miles. Nothing real exciting on the bottom. Everything's normal. Trip number 4. This was really the third trip that I took. This is the one that took me out of the area that I usually don't go into. This was from Albertus, Pennsylvania to Olowine, Iowa. And there's also an MGAP down there. It's $284. And the final trip on this sheet, trip number 5, 371.8 miles. It was a 45,500 pound load. Probably the heaviest load I've hauled for the week. All right, let's take a quick look at the math. If we add up the sheets, it comes to 4,161 paid miles, but I only drove 3,438 miles. This is called carryover. This is where 723 miles either came from the week before or the week after, or a combination of both. It's important when you look at a single pay statement to know that there may be carryover from the week prior or the week after. So somebody could show you a single pay statement and you'd think, man, this guy's making a killing over there. That's why you got to look at year to date. I know when you look at it, you say, wow, you filled up 7 times this week. That's because I filled up every single day in an attempt to see exactly how much fuel I was using each day at different speeds. I was doing some experimentation. I used a total of 623 gallons for $2,911. That was covered over 4,602 miles. Remember, there's carryover from last week. And it gave me 7.4 mpg. All right, time for the summary page. Now remember, I had 4,161 paid miles. Even though there were 3,438 miles on the logs, that's because of the carryover from the week before. My calculation for the mileage shows that I used $2,626 in fuel for 4,161 miles. I had 63 hours of drive time, 71 hours of on-duty and drive time combined. That gave us a total of $6,483, but we're going to put back in the escrows and the deductions for my travel to get to Arter. So it's $6,725 minus the $2,626 comes to $4,099. So basically $4,100 for week 7.
And as always, for complete transparency, here are the actual pay statement pages in case you want to freeze frame and zoom in so you can take a closer look.
Please keep in mind that your rates and the rates that you are quoted could be different than the rates that I had. You can see the rates I had by freeze framing on any one of the runs or on any of the pay statements. The rates that I had were for Central Regional Van Division. Always be sure to compare what you are actually contracted to because your mileage and rates may differ.
And as always, make sure you are enjoying every day at work.